One of the biggest mistakes people make when creating a course in Kajabi has nothing to do with pricing, marketing, or even the content itself. It's how they structure their course. I have taken multiple courses where the content itself I could tell was gold, but the customer experience was so terrible because of the way everything was structured that it left me feeling confused, disorganized, and just not sure how to progress to get the results that I wanted. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how modules and lessons work in Kajabi, as well as a simple framework to structure your course as you're building it out. Hey, if we haven't met before, my name is Erica, and I am the owner of Gold Coast Creative, where I offer premium Kajabi templates. I'm a web designer of over a decade, and on this channel, I help make Kajabi simple and beautiful. So let's jump in and talk about what is the difference for Kajabi in modules and lessons. Modules are large sections of your course. They represent a major transformation for your student. Some other platforms will call them sections or chapters. I like to think of these as a folder or even sections of a book, like this cookbook I pulled out to show you. This would be a module in Kajabi. Lessons, on the other hand, are individual pieces of content inside the module. They are usually a single topic or video. They are like a file within a folder, or to keep going with my example, like an individual recipe within the section. I would recommend 3 to 5 modules for your course and then as many individual lessons as you need. Honestly, short, bite-sized lessons are easy for people to consume and help people feel like they're making traction in your course. Modules answer the question, what stage of the journey am I in now? Whereas lessons are where the actual teaching happens. They're specific, they're focused, and they solve one clear problem at a time. Sounds simple enough, right? So why is this hard to do? A really quick example because I think it will really help. Back in the day, I was getting my master's to teach English, and one of the things I did a lot was grade and read student papers, and I found an interesting phenomenon. There were a whole group of students that were very smart, and the things that they write and the ideas that they would write about were very interesting, very intellectual. However, the organization of their papers brought it down from like an A to like a B, maybe a C level. And it was so disappointing. But here's what I found out that they were doing when I was working with them. They were trying to write their paper, come up with their ideas, organize their paper, and put it all together in one fell swoop, which I find to be nearly impossible. We need to break this down into individual steps. And once you hear it, it's so simple, but it makes everything so much better for the person taking your course. So here's what to do. First, by outlining everything you want to include in your course. I love using AI, but I would not do this part in AI because you want all of this to be your original content, and I wouldn't personally want that to be influenced too early on by something like ChatGPT, where then all of a sudden I'm kind of like, what's my ideas? What's their ideas? And it distracts me from coming up with my own creative content. We'll jump into using AI a little bit later on, but in this first step, I just like coming up with everything on the topic that I can think of that I think is beneficial or helpful in teaching on for that course. Next, then I'm going to go see what kind of groupings there are. And if I need help with this, I will use ChatGPT to help me find the similarities and then the groupings from it. Separating out your ideas and the brain dump from the organization is what's going to make this come out so much better. In terms of frameworks for structuring your course, I find that there are 3 types of courses that you are most likely to fall into. The first one is a process or system-based structure. This is my favorite because it literally takes your student from what to do first, and then they just follow it in the process until they get the end result. Modules just represent what students need to do next. Each lesson builds on one another, and customers just need to follow the process to get the transformation they desire. Think of like starting a business, launching a course, making sourdough bread, anything that has a start, and then you follow the dominoes in order to get to that result. This is different from category-based courses. So these courses are libraries of topics where students can jump around to get what they need. Think of like fitness courses where someone may want to do an arm workout or a leg workout or an ab workout versus a course with a recipe library where someone might want to eat seafood versus desserts to make, or design tutorials. Maybe they want to learn how to do something in Photoshop versus doing something in Canva, etc., etc. And then there is the trickiest one, which is the hybrid. Some things need to be done in a certain order and some things seem to fall into a category. What I have found is in this third case, modules are really great to represent different categories, and then within that module, there is a step-by-step process that that person can take. All right, really quickly, I am going to walk you through an example. For this example, I want to do one that I find to be a little bit tricky, so I'm going to have a pretend organization course, and I'm going to start by writing down everything that I would possibly want to talk about. So it could be by room, like closet or a kid's room, a kitchen, bathroom, garage. It could also be not only by space, but by category of type of item. So like thinking homeschool or outdoor things. And then there's also things that I would want to include, like a concept of what should be visible storage versus hiding storage. What favorite products maybe you could include for organization and where to source those things, how often to organize, systems for organizing, maybe introducing some things from like Marie Kondo on like things are going to be as messy as the smallest box that is in would be a philosophy versus the philosophy of maybe a closet where you take everything out and then you only put back in the things that are your favorite, so that when you are going through items, instead of taking out what you don't like, you're having to add those items back in and something like that. So we have a couple different philosophies, a couple different spaces, and a couple different categories. So it seems like, okay, how would I organize this course and make it make sense to somebody? What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into ChatGPT and I'm going to ask it to categorize everything for me. And this is the prompt that I'm going to use. All right, so my prompt is, can you organize this course outline in modules and lessons in a way that is simple, clear, and easy for students to move through? And then I just did a brain dump of everything I just said to you. And then I really liked what it gave back to me. So it saw 3 different ways of organizing my content: philosophy, how to organize, systems and tools, how to actually do it, and then the rooms and real life applications. So it suggested that I start module 1 with the organizing philosophy and my different ways, why things fail, the box within a box, visible versus hidden storage, different budgets, how often you organize, everything that is more of the mental mindset. And then it moved into module 2 as the categories of life, the homeschool systems, the family systems, the outdoor gear, and then module 3 is the room by room organization, like kids' rooms, kitchen, bathrooms, garage, and then it even suggested a final module, which I think is a great idea, of maintenance and how to go about that. So you can see how this is super simple in that I am able to have all of my ideas, this hodgepodge, where do I even begin, to getting it all brain dumped and down on paper, and then able to use something like AI to help me see the similarities in the content in a way that will help students move through it fast. Now you've mapped out your course in a way that actually makes sense, which is honestly one of the hardest parts. In this next video, I'm going to show you how to build out your course in Kajabi step by step. So if you haven't done that yet, you can watch it right here, and I'll see you in the next video.